Well, to the US now, and vote counting is well underway in the midterm elections. It's a test of the Biden administration and whether the American people have been happy with the last 2 years of bumbling, stumbling and crumbling from Sleepy Joe and his Democrat lackeys. Fear not, because my very own outsiders are here to bring you fair, honest and free speech, and what they're lacking in sleep, they make up for in insights. Now, welcome to you both. You've gone from Persian princess to prairie rose. Look at Rita Panahi there. You're looking fantastic. Rita, tell us how the day has been.
Thank you very much, Rowan. When in Texas, blend in. Look, it's been a surprising day. The results are varied. The red wave is somewhat of a red ripple. And there's been some disappointments for the Republicans in a number of key races, but there are also quite a few successes. And I think people are getting a little bit excited and saying this is a disaster. They're going to win the House, James. They need 2 more seats to win the Senate. Even before today's poll, there was a lot of doubt about whether they could secure the Senate. So that was always going to be something that was an ambitious target. But they're 2 seats away now. Keep your eyes peeled for Wisconsin and Nevada. Nevada is fascinating. And one of the bigger disappointing trends we saw today was with someone who we've all spoken about, which is Kari Lake. She has been such an impressive candidate. She was trailing by as much as 14%. But now that lead has been reduced to just 2%. She is within striking range. But James, Arizona, they are counting their votes at a glacial pace.
Well, and that's the thing that's really, a bit disturbing about this, Rita and Rowan, is that there's been all this talk about, election denying and all of that sort of stuff. But the fact is that in states like Nevada and Arizona, where they are going to be having late ballot drops and drops coming in tomorrow and the next day, and maybe not a result until Friday, in, these states that are not huge population-wise, it's the sort of thing that just leads people to have a lack of confidence in the system, whether or not that lack of confidence is justified. The other really interesting thing tonight here was to see how a couple of the big Trump picks, Dr. Oz in Pennsylvania and Herschel Walker in Georgia, have both seemed to have, well, if not hit the wall in the case of Herschel Walker, at least not come through. So you've got John Fetterman, who we've spoken a lot about on Outsiders, yes, and is a really, bizarre candidate. I mean, besides his mental and physical appearance, his politics are just absolutely bonkers, loony left. This guy, Dr. Oz, couldn't beat this guy in Pennsylvania, which went very heavily for Trump. That's quite something. And also Herschel Walker was a very compromised candidate who is now going to have to go into a runoff in Georgia on December 6th.
Well, the three of us, in fact, James, you first mentioned Ron DeSantis the morning after the Outsiders 2020 election special. You went, Ron DeSantis, he's the bloke to watch. So let's just have a quick look at him declaring victory earlier today, much earlier today.
Florida was a refuge of sanity when the world went mad. We stood as a citadel of freedom for people across this country and indeed across the world. But we stood our ground. We did not back down. We had the conviction to guide us, and we had the courage to lead. Florida is where woke goes to die.
Florida, where woke goes to die, Rita. The three of us have talked often about, the dream team of Trump and DeSantis. We had these strange sanctimonious comments the other day. You've referred to this. Do you think this is Ron DeSantis' moment, Rita?
It has been a massive triumph for him. The margin he's secured there. Florida was a purple state. It is now deep red. Deep red. He's winning Democrat areas in Florida. He's got the Hispanic vote. The majority of the Hispanic vote is now with him, not just the Cubans, but the rest of the community. So this is just an astonishing result from him. And, of course, it's between him and Trump. And this is going to put him perhaps ahead of Trump because a lot of people are saying if it wasn't for the Trump factor, this result would have been far more emphatic for the Republicans. But I think, again, a little bit premature. First, we need him to put up his hand for 2024. And then I think they're going to battle it out. It's going to be a bruising fight for both of them. But that's the process. That's how you get a candidate.
And I mean, I don't know if you guys saw it, but during his acceptance speech there, Ron DeSantis, his crowd was chanting 2 more years, 2 more years. They're saying, keep being governor for a couple more years, but go for it in 2024. So this could actually be a really bruising contest between these two generations here in the Republican Party over who's in control.
But there's also Republicans who feel that the job he's doing in Florida is so crucially important for the party and for the country. What he's been able to achieve in Florida in a very short period of time, and the fact that Florida is such a big state, it's such a significant state, that perhaps the country is better served if he serves in Florida for a little bit longer. That's also an argument that's being made, but certainly the momentum is with him now.
And just tell it, so if you cast your mind back 6 months ago, everyone was predicting, the Dems have got it, the red wave's never going to happen. Then it was there's going to be a red tsunami. Now you've said it could be more of a red trickle. I guess, James, what is based on what we now know, what's life like for Joe Biden going forward?
Well, here's something that nobody's talking about with Joe Biden going forward. He now has complete ownership of the economy and everything else that happens. He's not going to have this hugely Republican-controlled Senate and Congress that he can blame everything on. This was the Democrat game plan, let the red wave happen. If that happens, the consolation prizes, then you can call it a recession. Then you can say, all these terrible things are happening. And then you can say, and it's all because of Republican obstructionism and all of this and that and the other thing. Now, Joe Biden owns everything that happens over the next 2 years. So even though, he wasn't annihilated, the Democrats were not completely annihilated by a red tsunami in Washington tonight, this is actually a much bigger, longer-term strategic problem for the Democrats who now have to think about, well, do we let this guy run again in 2024, or do we find somebody else? I mean, Kamala Harris.
He's not going to run.
No,
he's not going to run again. But I think we should also note there's some data coming through. Now, I know exit polls aren't always 100% accurate, but from what we're seeing from some of these exit polls, that red tsunami, red wave, would have eventuated if not for the under 30 voters who turned up in huge numbers and backed the Democrats. Now, we had the debt forgiveness, the college debt forgiveness, that will buy you a few votes.
Rita, who's going to have to pay off all of this debt that they've just forgiven? Oh, yes, the young people. So talk about turkeys voting for Christmas.
Well, that's it. I mean, this is the generation that gets prizes for just showing up. Yeah. So life is going to hit them at some point, and perhaps there will be a realignment in their politics then. But at this stage, they're voting heavily for the Democrats. And I think in large part, they've reduced that red wave we've been talking about.
Well, it's been a fascinating midterm election, but I think the highlight for all Sky viewers has been the two of you. You've been absolutely superb. So I just say on behalf of all Sky viewers, been great. And I can't wait to see what's under that hat, because I'm hoping it's a present for me when you both get back. We'll see you soon. You better get some sleep. Good night. Thank you so much.